opening contest is a fatal four-way match for the Limitless Championship. In this match, 4 wrestlers will enter the ring. There will be no countouts, there will be no disqualifications, and the first wrestler to score a pinfall or a submission will be the Limitless Champion. Introducing our first challenger.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am Aaron Nix, the voice of Risen Pro Wrestling, and welcome back to Risen Pro Wrestling on the Risen YouTube channel. It is time for our 12th edition of live professional wrestling, brought to you in a sold-out St. Michael's Church in Hamworthy, and we're opening up the action this afternoon with championship gold on the line.
Here's right to the ring. He is the hard-hitting heavyweight. This is Hammerhead Smith Jr.
Yes, indeed, a second-generation athlete, Hammerhead Smith Jr., one of the hardest-hitting heavyweights, as the magnificent MC Magic Myro has pointed out. This man knows how to hit like a freight train, and I tell you what, in a Limitless Championship matchup, that is the perfect asset to have. Hammerhead Smith Jr., as always, in an extremely pleasant mood. Of course, as I mentioned, second-generation wrestler, his father, very famed, of course, in world sport and beyond. A great journeyman of professional wrestling, and obviously his son carrying on that incredible lineage here this afternoon. No stranger, of course, to Risen Pro Wrestling is Hammerhead Smith Jr. Looking to dethrone the Limitless Champion at the first time of asking. This is a first championship defense, and this is a fatal four-way matchup.
I'll tell you, son, I'll snap you until you
Tell me, Hamworthy, what do you think of Hammerhead Smith Jr.?
keep it down, you bunch of scumbags!
And introducing challenger number 2.
Well, in terms of power, Hammerhead Smith Jr. may very well have the advantage, but when it comes to hybrid athleticism, not to mention a pedigree in the training and the art and the knowledge of professional wrestling, this man making his debut may have something to say about that. Not your average D. Joe Dale, a man I know better than most, ladies and gentlemen, a man I've trained alongside, fought alongside, no doubt will have a very interesting say in how this match pans out. Ladies and gentlemen, making his debut here at Risen, and I guarantee not for the first time you'll see him. Right, Rowe finishing the sentence for me as he always does, in sync, baby. Joe Dale, the second of 4 competitors.
Introducing challenger number 3.
Looks like the Green Ranger has come to party here at Risen. There it is, yes indeed. Joe Dale seems to be in an extremely good mood. Will he be in a very good mood when all things are said and done here? Tell you what, this individual is not in a good mood.
Risen Tag Team Champion. No longer a member of the Sears syndicate. This is Owen Sears.
Indeed, as Martin Rowe has alluded to, and of course, last time out at Risen Pro Wrestling, Owen Sears kicked his father in the unmentionables and turned his back on the Sears syndicate, and is now looking at the first time of asking to absolutely stun the Risen landscape as a solo competitor. This is, of course, the third of the 4 men to make up this Limitless Championship Fatal 4-Way. Referee Paul Field in charge of this one, going to have it all to do.
And finally,
well, you cannot have a championship matchup without the champion, ladies and gentlemen.
introducing the current, reigning and defending RIZEN Limitless Champion!
It certainly is a difficult task ahead of Sean MacKenzie. Father John, and of course his lovely mum as well, Joe, at ringside. They are always here to support their son in all of his professional wrestling endeavours. And Sean MacKenzie, arguably with the biggest challenge in his young career to date, looking to successfully defend his Limitless Championship, which he captured in a stunning one-on-one street fight with William Corson. Very popular here at RIZEN Pro Wrestling, but will he still be Limitless Champion by the time this match is through? One fall to a finish to determine a Limitless Champion of RIZEN, ladies and gentlemen. Referee Paul Field in charge of this one, as I've mentioned. So Sean MacKenzie defending the gold against Joe Dell in the green, gold and black. Hammerhead Smith, the man who's basically telling you to shut your mouth every 5 seconds, and some might argue rightfully so in a place like Hammerhead. And of course, the man in the black top with the long hair, the dark tights and the black and white boots, Owen Sears, the excellent one himself. Quite an interesting dynamic here. 4 professional wrestlers with 4 very different mindsets, mentalities and attitudes towards what pertains as professional wrestling in our business. This crowd already all over Hammerhead Smith Jr. Definitely has the power advantage in this matchup, but when it comes to athleticism, it is anyone's game. And Owen Sears already proving himself to be quite the calculated individual. Some people might say cowardice, some people might say intelligence. It's up for debate. And meanwhile, Hammerhead Smith Jr. is being teed off on by the All-Stars themselves, Sean MacKenzie and Joe Dale. Not your average, comes steamrolling in, lovely clothesline in the corner, and now looking to form an alliance with Sean MacKenzie, sends it crashing into Hammerhead Smith Jr. Both of these men otherwise looking to isolate an individual, and of course a fatal 4-way means that the champion doesn't have to be involved in the decision when it comes to the potential loss of his championship. Sean MacKenzie arguably the biggest disadvantage of his career so far, but him and Joe Dell working very nicely in tandem here against Hammerhead Smith Jr., who just displays his power right there, explodes out of the corner, double clothesline, and now he's in full control of this matchup as he goes to work on Joe Dale. Vicious knife edge chop right across the chest. Those big old skidder-like hands of Hammerhead Smith Jr. Now Sean MacKenzie obviously taking full exception to that. You can see the serious height and size disadvantage for Sean MacKenzie. He might be limitless. He seems to be certainly limited in terms of his height, but ultimately, Owen Sears is picking apart Joe Dale on the outside. Hammerhead Smith Jr. Sean MacKenzie not going to get it done with power. Can't get someone the size of Hammerhead Jr. I would expect. Hammerhead Smith Jr. excuse me, and of course Irish whip reversal there by Hammerhead Smith Jr. and a vicious forearm right to the face. And meanwhile, as both Sean MacKenzie and Hammerhead are going back and forth, Owen Sears finally deciding to interject himself in something irregular. Knife edge chop right to the spine, and as a heavy hitting man myself, I can't help but admire that just a little bit, if I'm being honest. And meanwhile, Sean MacKenzie already suffering the ill effects here. William Corson was one thing, but Hammerhead Smith Jr. is an entirely different premise for anybody. And looks like Owen Sears and Hammerhead Smith Jr. have decided that they're going to form themselves a little bit of a tandem. Got the leg drop applied by the second generation star. Sears now just going away from Sean MacKenzie. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, fatal four-way action. You don't have to be involved in the decision for the matchup, and that's bad news if you're the reigning champion. No champion's advantage in a match of this nature, and of course, fatal four-way does mean technically no disqualification. Let's see just how much referee Paul Field is going to allow in this matchup. Again, Sean MacKenzie with absolutely little to no offense here, trying to stem the tide of Hammerhead Smith Jr. and Owen Sears. Once again being worn out by the skill right hands, Hammerhead Smith Jr. with a vicious forearm in the corner once again. There's nothing fancy about his offense. A lot of people liken it to that very old traditional brawler style from World of Sport, something that Fitz Finley would be extremely proud of. Owen Sears just looking at Sean MacKenzie with utter disdain, and Hammerhead and Sears just teeing off on the Limitless champion. Another knife-edge chop, and let's be honest, Sean MacKenzie's barely gotten out of the blocks here in this fatal four-way matchup. And meanwhile, Joe Dale, well, it's very smart, it's very intelligent. The game plan is obviously to isolate as many individuals as possible. They've isolated Joe Dale, they're going to pick apart Sean MacKenzie, and then you would assume at some point that Hammerhead Smith Jr. and Owen Sears will decide between themselves who takes home championship gold. Beautiful sink on there. Joe Dale finally back in the ring. It's just about had enough this time. It's Joe Dale teeing off on Hammerhead Smith Jr. looking for an Irish whip. And now teeing off on Owen Sears as well. And this is the big problem with a fatal four-way as well. Bodies everywhere. It's so hard to have an opportunity just by yourself. And it's that beautiful Power Ranger pose again for Joe Dale. I'm having a bit of fun with the audience. One of the most likable people in the history of professional wrestling, and that covers some serious ground. Smith Jr. now just teeing off, and a knife-edge drop once again, and it is very evident here that Hammerhead has a serious power advantage, and frankly is abusing said power in this fatal four-way matchup for the RIZEN Limitless Championship. And well, they were teeing off on Sean MacKenzie, and now Joe Dale has drawn the ire of the terrible two. And the excellent one himself, Owen Sears. I still cannot believe what he did to his father last time out, kicking Roger Sears in the proverbial gonads, ladies and gentlemen. Making an example of his father after everything that his father has done for him, breaking him into the business, helping train him when he was such a young man at the age of 10 and 11 years old, trained by his father initially, then having the opportunity, of course, to train at a multitude of facilities. And Sean MacKenzie desperately trying to get back in the ring to try and somewhat have a say in defending his championship, but being kept isolated, and that is a nasty, nasty knife-edge chop. Damn near like a Guantanamo Bay role play here, ladies and gentlemen. Joe Dale being worn out and frankly beaten to within an inch of his life by Hammerhead Smith Jr. That Irish whip, you saw the effect, the whiplash effect of Joe Dale's body crashing into the corner. But Joe Dale isn't called not your average for nothing, ladies and gentlemen. This is a man who has overcome the likes of drive-by knee, by the way, by Owen Sears. I was about to say, Joe Dale has overcome so many adversaries, but right now having a seriously hard time trying to overcome this. Standing suplex applied by Hammerhead Smith Jr. to Joe Dale, and you could see the welts, you could see the chest of Joe Dale, and that's what I thought. Hammerhead Smith finally going for the pinfall. Owen Sears interrupted it. It's not elimination, of course. And now we're going to find out just where the alliances lie here. Hammerhead Smith Jr., a real mercenary when it comes to professional wrestling. Looking to back off Owen Sears, and Owen Sears ducks the chop effect, and now putting some limited mustard, if I'm being honest, on those open heart strikes. Hammerhead Smith Jr. not exactly impressed by that, and a big boot wipes out Owen Sears with relative ease. Meanwhile, Sean MacKenzie rolling back into the ring for a double drop kick, taking out both Owen Sears and Hammerhead Smith Jr. Didn't get all of it, but enough to create some separation. Rising knee lift, Joe Dale, and it's almost like a tag team match, ladies and gentlemen. The All-Star Wrestling Alliance of Sean MacKenzie and Joe Dale. And oh, look out, and I'm not entirely sure what was going on there. I think Sean MacKenzie pushed Joe Dale out of the way. And meanwhile, that patented leg lariat by Joe Dale. Joe Dale looking to tee off on Owen Sears, and a vicious forearm. My God, could possibly have rocked the dome of the Excellent One indeed. And meanwhile, he gets backed into Hammerhead Smith Jr. Blue Thunder Bomb with the pinning combination. Doesn't even attempt the pin in the end. And now a spear from Sean MacKenzie. And it's just non-stop here. And an RKO cutter delivered by Owen Sears to Sean MacKenzie. And after all of that flurry and offense, all four men showing the effects of this matchup. And Owen Sears especially looking to be particularly worse for wear. Got to think that maybe that forearm shot from Joe Dale did a lot more damage than we realise. And Owen Sears looking far worse for wear as referee Paul Field checks on him. As I said, ladies and gentlemen, fatal four-way matchup means no disqualification. And of course, that means that pretty much anything goes. So referee Paul Field, all he can do really is just check on the competitors and look for a stoppage, I guess. Other than that, he's there to count the pinfall or call the submission. Meanwhile, Joe Dale teeing off on Hammerhead Smith Jr. with big-time right hands. Another one in reply. Now Irish whip to the corner. Joe Dale sends Hammerhead Smith Jr. in. And he's now looking to make a crowning achievement at the expense of his dome. And I believe in the other corner as well, Sean MacKenzie teeing off on Owen Sears. And that is a low blow from Owen Sears. A big boot from Hammerhead Smith Jr. to Joe Dale, by the way. Frantic action here in our opening matchup at RIZEN 12. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, scoop slam from Hammerhead Smith Jr. We will be back here in Hamworthy on March 28th for Gold Rush, ladies and gentlemen. The Baker's Dozen will be complete by RIZEN Pro Wrestling. Up to the second row goes Hammerhead Smith Jr. Risked it all with absolutely no reward. No Gold Rush for Hammerhead Smith Jr. there. Got nothing but canvas. A nasty, nasty landing. And now Joe Dale with that beautiful back suplex Uranagi combination. Panted offense once again. And Owen Sears just breaking up the pinfall. We almost had a brand new Limitless champion at the first time of asking. Once again, Owen Sears just going low. Absolutely. Well, let's be honest, just taking liberties with a no disqualification, essentially, with a fatal four-way matchup. Sean MacKenzie with a fireman's carry. Owen Sears escapes out the back door. Drop kick into the back, and oh dear. Well, Paul Field, unfortunately, on the receiving end of that contact, and very much channeling his inner Earl Hebner there, ladies and gentlemen. How much of a gas tank on that man, and a vicious springboard DDT by Owen Sears delivered to Joe Dale. Hook of the leg by Owen Sears, and there's no referee because of what you are. Speaking of, there's a referee, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my God, Roger Sears, the father of Owen Sears, refusing to count free, and understandably so. And Owen Sears absolutely perplexed. The ref shirt is off. He's not really a referee tonight. Super kick into the face of his own son. Turnabout is fair play after what you did, you little rats. Roger Sears with a super kick. Owen Sears is out cold, and Sean MacKenzie could be the beneficiary of that moment. Top rope, tadpole splash delivered by Sean MacKenzie. A hook of the leg, and Sean MacKenzie escapes with the Limitless Championship. Starting effort by Sean MacKenzie, escaping with the gold. Some people might argue Hammerhead Smith Jr. knows that he had so much control in that matchup. Joe Dale knows that he was a whisker away, but a sign of respect from the All-Stars there. Joe Dale, a very sporting man, ladies and gentlemen. Showing love to your reigning and now defending champion, Sean MacKenzie, and still your RIZEN Limitless champion.